Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a lap guide for Mount Panorama with the Nissan GT3. Let's get this started. Your first braking point is just after the 100-meter mark. You'll brake as much as you can, then slowly ease off on the brakes as you start to turn. Try to get as close as you can to the curbs and slowly start to accelerate, especially on this car since it loves to have a lot of wheel spin. Start to accelerate too early and you risk spinning out. Look for a path that is on the left, as that will be your next braking point. Once again, brake as much as you can, then slowly ease off on the brakes. Once you hit the apex, you can slowly start to accelerate. Once again, just be careful with your throttle input. Ease off the throttle as you approach this turn, and right after this turn ends, you can start to apply the brakes. Control your braking input so you can bring yourself to the inside of this turn and slowly accelerate. Ease off the throttle just a bit for this right-hander, then use the happy little tree on the left as your turning point. You'll be easing off the throttle for this next right-hander. You can take this left-hander at full throttle along with this turn, then you'll need to ease off on the throttle for this turn as well as the next turn. Wait until you hit the apex before you can start to fully accelerate. Bring yourself to the left, pointing towards the right side of the track, then start to brake as you approach the Audi R8 sign. You can use some braking and throttle at the same time to try to keep the car nice and stable. Bring yourself to the right, apply a little bit of throttle, then brake a bit more to get yourself set up for this next turn right here, then start to fully accelerate. Go ahead and bring yourself to the left side of the track, and as you start to turn right, you can start to apply a little bit of braking. Then once the gray wall on the right turns blue, that is when you apply all of your braking power. Try to get the car to rotate as quickly as possible, and especially in this car, carefully start to accelerate. Let's fast forward through this, then bring yourself to the right and use the 150-meter sign as your next braking point. Do not take too much advantage of the curb that is on the inside, as that will unsettle your car. Carefully start to accelerate and try not to make contact with the grass over here, as that will cost you some time. Then for the last turn, brake right after you pass the 100-meter mark. Treat this turn similar to that of the first turn, where you just want to get the car to rotate and slowly start to apply the throttle, and you are good to go. That is all for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and quickly talk about the strategy. For this race, you don't need to worry about fuel nor tires, so go out there and have some fun. Now, if you end up using the Nissan GTR GT3, you want to be very careful with it, as it's going to want to step out almost all the time, or it's going to want to understeer and do something very silly like this. Yeah, this was very frustrating. So while this car doesn't do that well when it comes to turns, it becomes very unstable, super easy for it to spin out. It'll definitely make up for it when you go on the straights. This car is like a missile. It goes super fast, so as we're about to see, I'm going to easily catch up to this Aston Martin here on the Conrad straight. Especially with the slipstream, your car becomes even faster. And here we go, I'm already catching up to him, and just now I'm already right behind him. So you can definitely make some good moves with the GTR. You just want to be very careful when you approach the turns. And yeah, that was awkward. I don't think that was his fault. But anyways, going back to the strategies. In this race, I ended up using the Beetle Group 3, and this car was a lot more stable. I ended up having a lot of a better time, not worrying about oversteering as much as in the GTR. It's just that with this car, when you're shifting down, especially if you go downhill, you want to make sure that you're going in a straight line, because the moment you shift down and your car is turning, the car wants to step out a bit, it becomes a bit sketchy. So as long as you remember that for this car, shift down as you're going in a straight line, then you should be good to go. But anyways, that is pretty much it for this guide. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So this is Mr. MCA, wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.